Good news is, last night I made a point of remembering where I was before my sister tried to drag me off to dinner, so I could tell what the hell I was going to be doing next. I want to go over there, which means downright. Yep, bleak, horrible depression. Not only is everything bad, but it's never getting any better. Wait, what? That... what? It didn't used to be there. Hey, Game Geek. Hey, whatever. We can still get down this way. Just have to not run afoul of anything. Shoot, 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 shoot. Flares, I'm out of thermite. Great. Go ahead and pop a save in a different spot, because we need to deal with this area, and that means just clearing out the room from hell, I think. Okay. Hitting me. Well, I got him, but then the other guys got me. Hang on. Hi, Nordamite. Yeah, I'm sorry. Forcing me to deal with the fricking radio guys alongside everything else is not fun. Especially since I literally... So for those of you who missed that, thanks to how inputs work, I literally couldn't interact with the radio at the same time as everything else. And we're dead. Okay. Well, so far this is a pretty horror game, yes. I wish I wasn't playing it. Okay. Let's ditch the revolver and try the flare gun. It's right there. Reload the goddamn thing. Thank you. we killed the radio guys, which is honestly, like, worth it. The revolver hits harder, but honestly to an extent which, if you weren't playing it, you probably wouldn't even notice it. Otherwise, no. Okay, so. Now that we've killed the radio guys, let's do everything else in that stupid room. Well, the grenade shells worked on those things, but they apparently don't do much against the shield guys. So let's bring out the rifle. So let's get some distance. Okay, so this room, now that we've finally cleared this stupid room out. Not actually much here, now that there's not horror death in all directions. Oh, it's really depressing, Spark. You'd love it. Okay. Let's... go back to the revolver, just because we have more revolver ammo than anything else. Like, that's the main reason I'm using the revolver. I have revolver ammo. There's a pretty good chance that all of human society is dead already and will never get better, Spartan. Note that I don't mean the people. The meat is going to keep going, but the society is dead. Pursuant to what Dakota just mentioned as well. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and save. Hi, Entity. Like, you know how most dystopias have some kind of resistance against the dystopia? Like, that's a major point. There's no resistance to the dystopia here. Because everyone just kind of accepts that this is the way things are, and indeed should be. Of course. Okay, so that's a key door. God damn it. I've been waiting for the music. I have no idea what the actual indicator is. A lot of this has just been me guessing, because if I'm being honest, the whole game has a bit of a feedback problem, ironically. Let's shortcut get. Okay. So we have a scanner. Don't have something to scan right now. Alright, so that requires a key. And that's it down here, actually. We can't get over there, which is where I was going to go. So I'm going to assume there's nothing over there now, because I literally can't get there. We need to get to the magpie box, too. I guess we can go do that. So, hang on. We need to go... Hi, Dragon Player. Up, and then... How do we get further up? Ladder room. Okay. There's the enemies. I blew my thermite on. Yes, the magpies have continued. It's 2 games in a row about psychic powers. Magpies. You haven't seen vampires yet, although we don't really know exactly how the psychers, what I've been calling the psychers, actually operate in this setting. So it's possible. Oh god, what was the frequency? We did this earlier. We've actually already solved this puzzle. But that was yesterday, and I don't remember the frequency. 210, maybe? There we go. A store key. Shut. A store key, which I don't know what that is, and another card. We should probably go dump some cards to free some inventory space while I'm thinking about it. I'm going to guess the store key goes to one of the things downstairs. Oh, I actually have to tell where they go? Oh, dude, I don't know where they go. Whatever, just leave it there for now. Yeah, the dream document is probably the hint. I'll come back to that. Because I remember that was the dream journal. Okay, so this way. Oh, hey, the developer fluid. God, that took a minute. Wait, let's inspect it. Yep, develops and fixes photographs in seconds. People's Army, 5th Vineton Infantry Division, Unit 12. Interesting list of names. Okay. Well, I do believe that's actually everything down here other than whatever this scanner thing is. Let's head over here. Let's dump everything really quick so I can do some inventorying. Okay, so developer fluid into the photo tank. Oh, and that's going to be our scanner. Yep, okay, cool. Save, because I currently don't have a weapon. Am I? Yeah, I don't think our health has changed an inch. Another Arcana card. And a note. I have been found out. I'm sure the white-haired girl working at the photo store in Sector C is bioresident. Be careful. They don't pay me enough to take any more risks. I'm on the next ship to Kitezk tomorrow. Meet me at the docks in Sector N if you want to bail, too. Interesting. Okay. What are we fighting? Good question. I actually do have some theories. I'm not going to share them yet. I think one of two things is going on here. Nope. Map. F. Really? I suppose that makes sense. Given the very strong Eastern European stuff going on here. Okay, so we got a bunch of Arcana now. Let's see here. So, Lover and Storm is 6. But I don't know what that means, really. The last one's Sun. Okay. Okay. That's obviously not Star. What is that, Boolean? I don't think I went for Boolean. What's Kitez? That's a good question. So Cortez is... What are those? Lovers. And then Tower Storm, whatever that is, would be times that. So Tower Lovers. And then I don't know what the last one is. Okay, so that's Star, which is that on Vincia. I think that's actually correct. I think that's actually the correct layout for now. Of course, we're missing a card. Where haven't I been? We never finished the butterflies room. I guess we could go there. Yeah, let's go there. Let's save first, though. Now that we've dumped off all those cards. Yeah, I think you're right. Sorry. I've been debating the kit myself, because, like, on the one hand, I like a game that has a good, solid spread of kit. Especially if, I don't know. I'm trying to think how to put this into words. Giving me 4 guns that are identical isn't something I really enjoy. Giving me 4 guns that either play differently, or shoot differently, or function differently can be enjoyable. Honestly, I'll use several of the good Call of Duty games as an example where you've got 5 machine guns, but each of them operates differently. There's an obvious preference to have between them. And a lot of players tend to say, well, that's the specific type of machine gun I want to have to use, because it fits their playstyle, right? Some of them burst fire, some of them have different spread, some of them use slightly different ammo, whatever, right? Wait... What? What? The SMG is interesting because I guess I can't get to the butterflies room. So the alley is locked off down here. This door is now red. It doesn't say it's red, but it is. And this door is now red, so I can't get to this section at all. The SMG felt like it had staying power, except it totally didn't. And that's kind of the problem. Like way too limited of ammo. For how easy it was to, you know, miss. Or hit someone's shield or whatever. The flare gun's actually a really good idea. It's probably the best overall kit in the game. It's a gun that destroys the body in the shot. Very limited shots, of course, and that makes sense for what it's going for. But that makes one interesting gun. The shoddy having spread fire is nice, but that brings us up to a grand total of 2. The rifle I'm thoroughly disappointed by. Let's go ahead and pull out Old Faithful again. Because I'm just swimming in revolver ammo right now. So, okay. I'm not sure what to do next. Because these pulsating cancer mounds are just slowly blocking off my ability to access areas. I can still go up there, which means I can still go down. But I've already been down, and there was nothing there. New. Like, I've swept down here. So... there's the painting. That's where I got the lever. I can't get up to the butterflies room. Maybe I could do that? Hang on. I actually have an idea. Let's try something. Let's go down. Gonna get the revolver equipped while we're here. The scanner station is now consumed with the organic goop. As you can see up there. Don't mind me. Oh, whatever. I'm just gonna run. Just gonna run. The photo store is now consumed with the goop. Normally I'd ask why is the goop spreading, but at this point I have a pretty solid idea why. Or rather, two solid ideas why. Don't worry, I'll share all my thoughts at the end, because I imagine at least some of the viewers like specifically want to hear my thoughts on the story, and so, oh geez. That'll be the stuff we share right at the end, so everyone can see it, and there's goop. There's goop. Well, yeah, it's cancer, but that's not what I mean. Like, I guarantee you with almost total certainty that is radiation-induced cancer. That isn't what I mean. Okay, so it looks like we can actually reach the butterflies, right? So let's see what's going on up here and see if we can figure this out. No, and did he? Apparently I also missed something in the atrium. I'll try to get to the atrium from here. It's right there, but I'm blocked by goop. Please don't make me go all the way around. Wait, but if... Okay. Sorry. Well, let's head to the atrium. Go away. Yeah, that's the revolver, Dakota. If I wait for the aim to finish fully, it's a one-shot. Problem is that wait for full part. I'm going to be coming back through here, and health is starting to get to be a precious resource, more so than ammo. Okay, so apparently something's in here. Yeah, I could. That ring is so obvious, but like, I'll get. I'm pretty sure that's my next step. I could be wrong. It's that or something to do with the butterfly room. Just like those are my options right now. Not really, Trihexia. Soma was trying desperately to be deep, and honestly kind of failed at it. What irritated me most about Soma was the players, though. Ugh. I'd heard for years that Soma was like this amazing philosophical game, and it was just a basic fork concept. Decent concept, horrifically nightmarish ending. So the doomed setting, by the way. Okay. Signalis, Atrium. Yeah, what am I missing? What do I want to bet? I need to do the butterfly puzzle first. Let's look at that direction. Signalis, butterfly. What do we got? What do we got? Okay, well, back to the butterfly room. At least we cleared all this stuff. I mean, if I have to go Google what pareidolia means in order to solve it, honestly, and I've already given the game a negative for this, I don't like the puzzles in this game. Too many of them rely on information out of the game to solve. A puzzle in a game should have the information necessary to at least understand what the puzzle is in the game, right? I was trying to think of an example, and I can't think of it. There's some random-ass puzzle game, which I actually didn't like. Which does a very similar thing, where it's like, hey, here's some like engineering or electronics puzzles. And when I say electronics, I mean, here's a circuit board, fix it. It doesn't tell you what you're trying to accomplish or anything. It just relies on you understanding what the purpose is of that type of board. And it's like, not a huge fan. I don't know what else to say there. I don't enjoy that type of puzzle. Now, there have been plenty of good puzzles in this game, too, so I don't want to sound like I'm being too negative. But there have been plenty of times where I'm just like, I can't... I've said this so many times recently, actually, because this keeps coming up in games we're covering. I can't solve a puzzle I don't know exists, right? Yeah, I don't care. Whatever. That's... Oh, wait, I can't go this way, can I? God damn it. Right. Okay, so I need to go this way. Hey, Zar. Can't go up that way. I guess I'll go this way then. Shoot. God dang it. I've gone the wrong way twice because I keep forgetting that certain paths are closed off to me now. Here. Let's see, I bet there's an optimal order to do these in, which I, of course, have no idea what that is. Yeah, it is. Sorry, I got a smear on my glasses. Okay. There exists a strange folklorish idea in many sectors of Rotfont related to, however you pronounce that, the tendency to see meaningful images in random patterns, like seeing a face in an inkblot or letters in a smudge of dirt. It is well known that the so-called red eye is simply me getting another smudge on my glasses? What the hell? It's simply an... I can't read that. Sorry. Give me a second. Hang on. Enjoy the combat music here. An anticyclonic storm produced by a high-pressure region in the atmosphere of Rotfront's planet. Yet for some of the early settlers of Rotfront, this natural phenomenon became symbolic of their struggle and way of life. That red spot in the sky became a perfect metaphor for the ever-present surveillance by the protectors and the tight grip of the central government on Heimat. Even today, the idea of an unblinking, watchful eye observing our every move still resonates strongly with the people here. During the celebration of... I wonder why. During the celebration of Bondfest at the end of each season, adult citizens will sometimes give students ration marks that have been dipped in red paint. Officially, the red paint is said to represent the blood of those who died in the revolution, but the red coins share an eerie semblance to that of the red eye. Or is that just the pareidolia? Pareidolia? 2. Should you ever receive one of these red eye ration marks, remember to clean off the paint with acetone or similar paint thinner. Spending or re-gifting paint-covered coins is considered to bring bad luck. I can run! Okay, so now that we know what pareidolia is, someone solve the puzzle for me. No, I don't mean give me the solution. That's not what I mean. I know the solution. I mean, get from point A to point B. Because I gotta be honest, if I hadn't read the solution, I still wouldn't know what I'm doing here. I like how I said, don't just give me the solution, and then the two of you immediately just gave me the solution. I'm sorry, everyone on YouTube who was trying to actually solve the puzzle like I just asked you to. This is exactly what I mean. I'm sorry. This is bullshit. This kind of puzzle design is not interesting or engaging. You read up what pareidolia means, and you find out that it's the tendency to see symbols and things that aren't really there. Okay, and then you look at a thing of butterflies, and... the closest I could come to understanding anything here is the A. Barely. If it wasn't for the fact that I know this spells out Eon, because I know this spells out Eon, I still wouldn't know what the rest of these are. Give me the last thing. Okay, so now we've got the last card. With heals on me. Of course I don't. Why would I have brought heals with me? That would be what a smart person would do. Hey, Ornament, give me 1 second, please. I've already tortured people enough with the... Oh, okay. That seems like it's spreading a bit. Oh, hey. And there's the... There's the dial ring. Well, I guess that answers that. Let's go save before we do whatever this is going to do. I'm not sure if we're supposed to do the dial ring first or the Arcana puzzle. Arcana? Puzzle first. Let's do the Arcana puzzle first. Let's get a friggin' heal first. Grab that. Drop that off. Use the repair spray. Let's inspect this if there's anything I'm missing. Anything I'm missing? No. Okay, cool. Okay, thank you for the sub, Nordame. Always appreciate you. Give me a moment. I will write that down in the wrong document. Here we go. In caps, of course. I should just take all my notes in caps today, just in honor of the game. Guild Wars 1, Xenoblade X, Xenoblade 3. Okay. I didn't save, did I? I should probably actually save. Wake up, Lord. Worthless. Worthless. wonder if it's possible to miss any content because of the expanding glorp pile. Like, logically, no, right? But then again, maybe you'd miss out on notes and stuff? I don't know. Okay. Okay, well, whatever. Dump that off. Let's go to the other puzzle. We'll come back to that. Right front, yes. Okay, so we've got, hang on, so we've got full, partially out, mostly out, completely out, partially in, mostly in. There's our phases. Now, maybe... No. I still don't understand what this is for. I saw this the first time we saw this, and I still don't know what the point of it is. Okay. Hang on, let's check something here. No, there's nothing there, at least not on the map. You know what a good puzzle game was? Talos Principle. That was a good puzzle game. Not only did a lot of the puzzles have multiple solutions, but it was a rules puzzle. I've realized that's what I should start calling this, by the way. I've always called those Zelda puzzles. It's a rules puzzle. You have rules, and those rules define what you can interact with. Solve for X, right? This thing makes a beam. This thing reflects the beam. This thing needs to receive the beam. Figure it out. Okay, maybe there's a note I'm missing. Something about moon. Moon. Yes, Andy. I've got the cards and I got this. That's why I'm rechecking my notes to see if there's anything about moons. I give up. I don't know what the puzzle wants from me. Hang on. The cards is the solution for this. Okay. Sure. Okay. Yep. Honestly, figured it was the other way, but let's do it. Like a good puzzle game to make you feel like an idiot. I'm going to look this up. I have no idea what it wants from me here. Looks like it was actually corresponding to the dreams, and I just had it mixed, apparently. Maybe? Oh, no, that's still clearly wrong. Okay. What's Katet supposed to be? Lovers? Okay, that's correct. Lang is supposed to be death. Okay. Rotfront is the moon. Okay. Vincia is... Sorry. I guess that's Vinetta? Whatever. Tower. Okay, so these two need to be swapped. Okay, so these just give you the answer. So, okay. So I'm still going to complain about that puzzle. But no, hang on. It's because there's nothing to indicate you got it right. Like, there should be something that's like, even just like a little bit of an audio indicator to be like, hey, this is the correct order. Yeah, a ping. Or maybe like the lights light up. Or maybe like individual lights light up. Something. And yeah, now the solution's locked, and now it's like, aha, right? Because if I had gotten that wrong, or if I came very close, then I would like come here, use the cipher, and nothing would happen. And now it's like, well, obviously I'm doing something wrong somewhere, right? That's the only complaint I'm going to lift at that puzzle. A funniest appliance. Obviously, it's a toaster. I mean, duh. I've seen Brave Little Toaster. So Bullion is full moon, which that actually is. I think? Or is this a full moon? Oh, geez, I don't know. There we go. Oh, that's creepy. I don't want to go in. I don't want to go in here. Okay. Let's... The last seal has been broken. It's time to go home. Pick up the king in yellow. Sure. Right. Let's go blow that because we're actually a little injured. I left some of yesterday's dinner in the fridge for you. You can warm it up when you get back from school. Please pick up the books your uncle ordered from the Etow bookstore on the way home. Remember to leave some space in your school bag for it this time so they don't get wet. Workforce assignment for Ariana Young. We've been informed your compulsory military service period was recently completed. Compulsory military service. According to our files, you have previously graduated from Mandelbrot Polytechnical High School in Rockford, Sector C on R34.56C and recently submitted an application for military service program, Penrose program. You've been processed by Eon Workforce Assignment. Previous work experience, store clerk, photo store, part-time, compulsory military service, Rod Front Orbital, long-range operations officer training. Should you not be accepted by military service program by the end of the season or find other employment, you'll be assigned the following workplace. Sierpinski Production and Mining Facility on Lang. I'm so glad to hear you're feeling better again. I was very worried when I heard from your aunt that you were in the hospital again. I still remember how you used to get sick so much as a child. Don't overexert yourself, okay? The photo you sent me is very interesting. What a strange coincidence. She looks so much like you. You could be twins. Perhaps she's related to us somehow, though I don't know anyone named Xiao in our family. From the looks of it, it was shot at Vanetta. Your military service will begin soon, so you might be wearing a uniform like her soon enough. Please send me a photo when that happens. Love, Mother. Well, this is all suitably horrific. Well, it just gave me a ton of pistol ammo. I suppose I'll pull out the pistol. And... rifle. Hi, Synthelius. This is the end. Leave forever? Yeah. No, sorry, I have not. All efforts to contain this illness have been in vain. All the Gestalt workers have succumbed to it, leaving only dark shadows on walls and floors where they died. Soon all of us replica will have lost our senses and turned into writhing mouths of flesh. I now believe it was not an infectious disease, nor some sort of poison or radiation. It was a slow corruption of reality itself. As I've relived the same cycle over and over, each time details change, things are twisted, added, or moved. How long until it turns to nothing but noise? A crashed ship, a strange gate, a hole in the ground. An island beyond reach, memories from other lives, dreams of suffering and loneliness, a promise, and a search for someone lost. I saw her in the red emptiness waiting for me. We made a promise. As the memories of a stranger rushed into my mind, I felt the borders of myself blur. I can only tell where Falk ends and Esther begins. You must turn back. There's nothing for you here. You've tried so many times and you've failed every time. Don't you see that you're ruining everything? This is your final warning, Adler. We were dancing to that song they started the broadcast with. We fell asleep watching that movie we'd seen so many times. If only I could take us back to that time when we were happy. Memories are mine now. There's the horrifying painting. Why did you return? There's nothing for you here. She'll never dance with us again. No matter what we do. She doesn't even want us anymore. Both of us, we are incomplete. Let us become whole again. morning, Braven. I didn't see any, but I wasn't looking. I was mostly trying to figure out what to do with the spear. A task I failed at. Spear. Did I melee with it? If I did anything with the spear, it was completely accidental, which goes back to that feedback thing. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Blah, 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 blah. There's 6 phases, by the way. So here's a very dumb question. How did I hit her with the spear? Because I didn't do it deliberately. Okay, so melee in range while down. I can do that. Let's get rid of the rifle. Rifle sucks. Bring in the shotty. That's where it's really at. Wait, do I have shotgun? I do not have shotgun ammo. Never mind. I've changed my mind. Let's not bring in the shotty. The shotty sucks. So we can bring in rifle ammo. For that, I don't know. I'm gonna bring in my various heals as well, probably. For those, except that's makes us full. Okay, fine. Don't bring the heals in. I should at least look at these so it flags that I looked at them. In case that means anything. Yes, and Family Guy, respectively. Those are. It's the only time I ever found Family Guy funny. Okay, so we've already read that. It's the same note from earlier. And that's the note on us. That's the same diary again. So there's Excavation Team C. Some rifle ammo. Sure. Is that it? So 3 copies of his diary here. Okay. Family Guy's most significant contribution to culture. Making Seth MacFarlane have enough money to do things that actually matter. Like Cosmos. While we're on the subject. Funniest joke in the Star Wars Family Guy. I would go with the Dak joke in Empire Strikes Back. Why does she have spears? Why is she floating? shotgun rounds. Fine. Destroy the shotgun rounds, please. I mean, look, Percocet, I'm just wondering. Well, I'd be curious. It's one of our heals. You gotta be kidding me with this crap. Fine. Use. Destroy? I can't... You've gotta be kidding me! I can't pick up a spear because I can't make inventory space. Jesus Christ, game. Really? Oh, goody. Move! God damn it, let me move. Not what I thought that was. Not what I thought that was. Okay. Okay, just... I also can't dump a gun, by the way. God damn it. Well, we're dead. We're out of ammo. And we're in an area with no drops. Come on, just kill me already. Come on. Oh, wow. That sucked. Okay. Okay. I should probably lock down the guessing game. It's occurred to me, since this is probably the last boss. If you haven't got your guesses in, you got now to do that. Okay, so let's not bring heals. That sounds like a great idea. And we'll bring one more gun. We know there's going to be shotgun rounds. Let's bring a shotgun. And now we're completely full. So I can't bring 3 guns. I literally can't bring 3 guns. 3 guns take 6 spaces. I only have 6 spaces. Okay. Alright. Good morning, 7-0. No, I haven't seen any SMG ammo. Although I think actually there were some 8mm shots in that fight, now that I'm thinking about it. Which I think is the SMG ammo. Yeah. Okay. We'll bring one heal. One good heal. And then the exact same loadout we just did. We're just going to try it again. Because I got nothing. Good morning, Walker. This is the final boss, yeah. No, I'm not actually sure. Say the spear probably shouldn't take up inventory space. Honestly, that would remove a lot of my irritations with this fight right there. Not all of them, but several. Move! God damn it! Oh, that's frustrating. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know if you noticed, I took out my headphones on that last attempt to just push through it. No, we are one. Oh my god, it was Warcraft 3 all along. Someone already killed my bot? Oh my god, who killed my bot? It was Elizar. You've returned. Are you really willing to go through this once more? You've seen what happens. This world cannot take much more. This may be our last chance. If you go back, it'll all fall apart. I can't let that happen. You selfish monster. He'll destroy everything. What about your arm this time? Penrose briefing, phase 2. Okay, so nothing new there. When I signed up for this mission, I just wanted to get away from everything. I was sick of rot front, of school, of the photo store. Sick of fake smiles and whispering behind people's backs. When I saw the photo of that soldier, I wondered who she was. Was she happy? Was her family proud of her? Did her comrades love her? Since we looked alike, could I have been like her? But in the end, I just wanted to leave. Nothing I had done or made ever meant anything to anyone, so why bother? Here, I am finally free. I get to be myself, by myself, and do what I want. I can finally be happy. Garbage bags. In the end, we didn't have strength to dispose of them anymore. Talked some more to the Elster unit. She's different from the replicas I knew back home. Nothing like my teachers or the blockwork protector. I know she doesn't have a choice, but it feels like she's also here because she didn't fit in. It's like we've run away from the world together. First, I didn't like having someone around. I was glad she's quiet and didn't approach me, but lately I've missed having someone I can talk to. It's been so long since I've last seen another person. Never thought I'd miss it. Except her, everything is the same in here. Always. Nothing ever changes. Oh my god. Okay. What that said was, "Congratulations, comrade. You've survived 3,000 cycles, reaching the final phase of the Penrose program. With the end of the operational lifetime of your replica unit approaching, it's time to prepare for the final phase of your mission. If you have not found a suitable world for landing by this point, accept that you will not. Find solace in the thought that others might be successful where you failed. As you are probably aware, your ship's spare parts and rations will soon be depleted. Life support systems and reactor shielding will soon begin to fail, and radiation may begin to leak from the cooling system." Called it. "We recommend you do not attempt to prolong your suffering by reusing old filters or rationing supplies. Instead, make peace with your fate. We suggest you ask your replica, while it is still functional, to spare you a slow and agonizing death, or that you take permanent rest in the cryogenic pod. Remember, you will die having served your nation by partaking in a glorious demonstration of our power." Yeah, can we get the galactic implosion device in here? I think we need it. Another unfinished painting. There was never enough time. Had a strange dream. I was listening to the radio with my mother. Like back then the numbers were on and the mother was taking notes in a book in her lap. It was that book I saw in the shop window of the bookstore where the twins lived, the one with the yellow-hooded figure on the cover. When I went to buy it, it was gone, and Erica said the protectors had confiscated it. Or was it Issa? I can't remember. Everything's always the same. I feel like I'm trapped inside this ship. I know every bolt and every panel and every room of it. I've seen everything. I've done everything there is to do here. I can't concentrate on anything. It's like there's a fog in my head. Whenever I try to do anything, I just can't focus. I want to go outside. I want to breathe fresh air. I want to feel wind in my face and in my hair. I think I lost more hair. I'm sitting here getting older. Every time I wake up, I feel older, weaker, sicker. I get out of breath so easily and my back hurts when I sit down. How much longer will this go on? It feels like I'm just slowly dying. That note was in the room with the tons and tons of radiation, of course. Cycle 5,000 something. I'm tired of it all. Every time I go to sleep, I wonder if I'll wake up again. I'm scared it'll be the last time I said goodnight to her. Did I say it right? Will she be okay? What if one of us doesn't wake up tomorrow? I don't want to die. I don't want to live anymore either. Everything is just so exhausting. I want to lie down and disappear. I just want to sleep. Please just let me sleep. It's actually the same note we saw earlier. I couldn't keep my promise. Despite my best efforts, I eventually fell ill too. It had to end this way. Hey, Morganite. Elster. I can't do it. You have to do it. It's time for this to end. Please. Very Eastern European. Let me guess. The end. Yep. Wow, that was horrible. So I'm told there's multiple endings. It was actually one of the first things that I learned about this game was that it had multiple endings. What's the trigger? Like, what changes it? Like, specifically, I mean. Oh. I'm not sure there's such a thing as a good ending in a game like this. Damage taken, locked doors attempted, how many times close to death, enemies killed. Yeah, good ending. We all died. I mean, I'm guessing the fake ending is the one we saw. Because, you know. I am 100% not playing that. However, it was requested that I YouTube the other endings, and as it happens, I've got the other endings right over there. I was just going to wait for the credits to finish. Well, that's an interesting question, Trihexia. Amusingly, my theory I came up with last night for what's going on, my two theories, weren't changed at all by the rest of the game. So don't worry, I'll share those at the end, because I know some people tune in right at the end just to hear that kind of lore theory crafting or whatever. I mean, I bought this game, Czar. Like 2 days ago, actually. Oh, hey. So, 65 saves, 13 loads, 11 deaths, average time between saves, 9 minutes. Hey. 27,000 damage taking, 1,600 healing. Death cheated 7 times, so 7 of the good rolls, I think is what you meant by that. 90 enemies killed, 322 shots fired. Ending promise. No, Mr. Red, but that's not my job, really. Okay, so get off my screen. Go away, go away. So this is the fake ending, so we're going to skip past that. There's apparently leave, promise we got, memory, and artifact. So let's go up to leave. Okay, so here's the leave ending. No, we are one. I already made the Warcraft joke. I'm not going to make it again. Oh, okay, so hang on. Blah, 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 blah. We get to the ship. Okay. So what's the requirements for the leave ending, like, specifically, again? Avoid damage, don't kill things, talk to NPCs. So this is the good ending? At the end, I had to leave you behind, but it's too much. Forgive me. Good morning, Sean. Okay. Is that it? We go out on the sand of where the crashed ship is and just die? Okay, cool. So then we have promise, which we obviously saw. So let's go up to memory. Okay, so here's the ship. I have no idea what Adler's on. The more I think about Adler, the more I think he's either a dangling plot thread from a previous version of the script or a literal red herring. Sorry, I don't know why I said literal. A red herring. He is a red herring. One of the two. Because every theory I've had about this game doesn't fit if he exists. So remember our promise. Okay. I've come back for you. It's me, Elster. Elster? I'm sorry, but I don't remember. It's okay. You're suffering from severe radiation poisoning. Perhaps this is hell. Yeah, that sounds about right. Please, just let me stay by your side a little longer. Okay, so this is the super ultra secret ending. which I have no idea how you get this ending. What? Okay, so we've got a giant pile of Gluck, a lily, several corpses, and a thing. I'm not sure what that is. Still not sure what that is. Something on the Gluck. German. The red eye, which they actually reference several times throughout the course of the thing. Remember our promise. And dancing? What? Yeah, I'm going to go replay this game 6 times. No. That's it? That's it? Okay. What? Running the game files through an imaging software to figure out specific frequencies that can be played in specific places to find 3 keys you normally wouldn't find. You then use those 3 keys to open a safe in Ariana's room, which you missed because you picked the book right away. Damn it! And then you get the lilies, you take them there, and then... Okay. Yeah, the ending you get by hacking the game. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's watch a speed run. Ah! Oh, all right, so let's scooch this over here. Let's scooch this over here. I'm gonna have to rate that ending now. God damn it, I don't want to rate that ending. All right, hang on. First, let's give the boss negatives. I'm sorry. That was kind of a miserable final boss. But what's really funny is I think that would be a solid boss in, like, another game. And with just a few little edits, I think it would have worked fine here. It would have just been, alright, that's cool. Instead of, you know... Something you probably didn't even notice is every time I stopped to shoot or interact with something, it would stop sprinting, which makes sense, but you have to sprint in order to dodge some of the attacks that are coming. Which means I was constantly run, interact, sprint, run, interact, sprint, run, shoot, sprint, run the entire time. Thank God I found the option to turn that into a toggle rather than holding down, because that would have been much worse. It's okay, it probably has autosaves, right, Mr. Red, right? Okay. God, it's so nice having the new not color-stained monitor, I gotta tell you. For those of you not aware, the audit sheet that I use uses color in order to try and keep track of things a little bit better. And now I can see all of that. Okay, so I made a point of doing the boring audit earlier. I just realized this is our last February stream. So, let's do the audit, shall we? I made it. Hi, Russ. Yeah, I think you're right, Dragonflare. Glitching through walls. I wish I could have done that. Jeez Louise. So this is Flying Waffle. This is actually not the world record because the other two were their only VODs were on Twitch, and Twitch VODs aren't really being saved properly right now, thanks to Twitch being Twitch. However, Waffle here is actually listed as a Russian streamer. So, I think this is actually, a Russian speedrunner. Unless they're lying about it. What's funny is there's a lot of US speedrunners on this in the leaderboard, which tends to be a little unusual. Like, obviously there's usually some representation there, but usually you see like some Japanese up there, or maybe some Korean people, but here it's like US, Russian, US, Japan, US, Greece, I think? I'm not sure what that flag is. I think that's Turkey? I'm not as good as flags as I used to be. Anyways. I hope this is an enjoyable run, Anthony, by the way. I suppose I always say that, but it's because I'm worried. And I suppose I'm always worried, but whatever. I haven't even actually shared my thoughts on the game yet. But again, I want to save that till after I'm done with the review and I'm at the end here. I should get some water for that. I am out of water. Okay. Rah. Well, it is a horror game. And my streams of horror games are infamously bad, so... Just mashing the 3 button. Let's go! Let's go! The theme of the game. A nightmarishly horrific death doom in which nothing good will ever happen, ever. I think it sounds like the appropriate theme of the game. I've never even heard of that game entity. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I don't want to go kill myself today. Maybe not today. I'll do that tomorrow. So, I'm directly comparing this to a lot of Resident Evil games for obvious reasons. And I just noticed I gave almost every Resident Evil game at least 1 positive to voice acting. Because, you know, most of it was pretty bad. Or actually good. So that is plus 17 to story. A pretty high ratio. Man, I love seeing war crimes visually against innocent puppies. That's what I crave in life, you know? Is it even a video game if there's no war crimes, honestly? I mean, repairing an android's a whole thing, right? Usually, most fiction goes with some kind of variant on microbots. Not necessarily to the nano level, but usually some kind of small robot. Which, you know, fuses armor together. Or just replacing whole chunks. And just straight up replacing body parts. A healing environment. Booze, food, and dry sleep. Lol. Is that static each time, I'm guessing? The card? Print card. Oh, actually, yeah, Andy. Again, there's a reason I'm saving my thoughts till the end, because I actually do have thoughts, and I am pretty convinced that I am absolutely correct about those thoughts. With the sole exception of Adler, he really doesn't fit anything. And the more I think about it, the more I wonder if he was just not part of the story at some point or another. Hidden dudes. Get the schlongs out of here. This is a no sausage fest party. I've been told I should never play Caves of Cud. I don't remember why, but that is something I've heard more than once in my life. Now, the roguelike might be it. I tend to not like rogues. Yeah, we might as well wiki Adler. Why not? Here's Adler. He is a waste of space. Oh, okay. I actually liked Hades quite a bit. It's the reason it scored so damn well. It was over 100 on the golden number. No, I had two problems with Hades. First of all, it was physically unpleasant to play because of how taxing it was. And second of all, I got to a certain point and, beat the game. And then the game was like, all right, keep going. And I'm like, no, I'm good. So I didn't. That's it. Is that just the audio? You know what? Let's change out the. I'm kind of tired of hearing the drone. I'm sorry. Here, I'll give you something appropriately depressing sounding. I wonder if it'll actually come out on PC this time, Jaxie. Unlike Alan Wake 2, which is never coming out on PC. I did like the map, for what it's worth. I did like the map in this game. I already jotted down that positive, but it's just... It's weird whenever I play a horror game and the map's actually good. We had that with Silent Hill 2 as well, if you remember. FF7R1, Morganite. Honestly, the biggest thing that would improve the map for me is allowing me to rebind my key bindings. I know it's a minor thing, but constantly hitting caps lock and then having to hit a separate button to navigate the map kind of never stopped irritating me. Like, could I please? No? Okay. I actually had the thought in the middle of it of hooking up a controller and trying it that way. The aiming was specifically why I decided not to. I had an issue which I didn't ding the game for. It's related to my setup and my keyboard. It's hard for me to constantly hit shift and like WASD because of just the layout of the keyboard. And I had to shift constantly because that's sprint, and I couldn't rebind sprint, so I just kind of lived with that. By the way, what's stirb mean? Because that's a word I noticed showed up constantly while being attacked. STIRB. Die. Okay. That tracks. Honestly, having limited doors you can interact with would be interesting to design around. Fun. Interesting. Okay, so Signalis, right? Let's line this up against the Resident Evil. So let's just get this out of the way. Really solid story. Plus 17. Looks like it puts that in 4th overall. Which, yeah, considering that it's behind Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and Prey 2017. That's pretty good. I'd take that. That is 1.58 positives per hour, and a ratio of 94.74%, which is crazy high. Gameplay, -3. Um, that's actually not that bad, really. It could be a lot worse than that. I feel like if they had focused a little bit more on some of the design philosophies they had early on, like, to me, the best stage in the game, was like everything up to floor, I want to say 5, which was the intro, the first chapter, right? The second chapter we spent quite a while. In fact, I think the bulk of the time we spent in 6 through 8. Well, not only that, the puzzles felt better designed. The flow was way better. Like, there was this very natural... It's hard to put... I gave it its own positive flow for this. There was this, I get this thing, and I happen to remember this other thing, because to get to this point, I had to go through this path, which made me see this. So there's a bit of peaking design, right? So I see this, I get this, I know how to get this. I can go this way, which gets me something else, to go down here. Once I turn this in, I see something else, and the thing I just got goes over here. And there's this flow to it, right? That's why I called it that. There's this wonderful flow to most of the level designs up till the 6 through 8 chonker. 6 through 8 involved a lot more backtracking and a lot more... It was still good. It just was not as good. I would say the only level in the whole game that I think actually had problems in its design was the Meat Moss level. And the Meat Moss level... Oh, I hated the story, Morganite. The Meat Moss level was... the biggest problem with it was that it was a fan of one-way doors. There's at least 2 that I noticed. The hole is the really big one. And that meant having to constantly go back through fairly lengthy parts of the stage, in a stage which has lots of enemies, very limited amounts of thermite or flare gun ammo, and very limited healing resources. No, that's how that works. Plus 17 is pretty good, and I stand by that. It is a good story. I hate it, but it is a good story. Nobody understands this. Everyone's like, oh, you only give positives to things you like. No! God, that irritates the piss out of me. Sorry, this came up very recently, actually. DeQuack was arguing that I shouldn't give a negative to something. I think it was something in Mother 3, because I was mentioning, I erroneously put that I don't like this character, and then it's like, you shouldn't give a negative for something you don't like, and it's like, okay. And then I had to sit down and explain why those characters were actually detracting from the narrative, which is what a negative to story means. Anyways. So yeah, gameplay was -3. It's a third of a negative per hour. That's a 42% ratio, which actually is, again, isn't really bad. That does put it a little bit below average, but I honestly think Resident Evil 2R is skewing that average, because Resident Evil 2R had extremely good gameplay, plus 40. So that's skewing that a bit. Anyways, that gives us our final golden number of... Can I get a drum roll, please? I had to pull out the calculator to figure out who won, because it was extremely close. It was like 0.8 between one guess and another guess. Blade Terval almost won, but instead it went to Kennex Cow. Congratulations, Kennex Cow. I put that to Jack Block's Jedi Fallen Order and Yakuza 0, because the final golden number is 28.83. Honestly, I feel like if there was more of a polishing pass done on the latter levels, really, just a few minor nits and changes would have probably pulled that score up substantially. I could see this scoring into the 80 range if it hadn't just kind of fallen apart towards the end there. But I promised you discussion about the lore and the world and all that fun stuff. So I actually took notes. I sat down and I said I would look up Adler. Let's look up Adler here and see if there's any new information for figuring this out. Here we go. So here's Adler. He's evil. S2301. Okay. Okay, here we go. So no new information, but there are some theories. Aha! Okay, here we go. Here's some new info. Adler was going to be a boss fight. That's it. That's what we know. Okay, no new information. Go away. Yeah, When did this game come out? Let's see, this was just 3 years ago. Wow. Well, here's my take. My own terrible, terrible take. So once upon a time, there was a woman who was born, who became the God Emperor of mankind, and used her incredible psychic powers in order to forge a new empire for humankind, taking them to the stars and elevating humanity above all that would assail them. I am, of course, deliberately invoking Warhammer 40k, but honestly, there is a pretty strong similarity between the starts. That's where the similarity ends, though. Because Mr. God Emperor of Mankind, who, to my knowledge, has never been named, he had a whole thing where he really wanted people to not worship him while standing around on a golden throne. I didn't know you could do that. Wow. Yeah, they never left the solar system by all accounts. First problem. And there's no warp. Maybe. I'll actually mention that in a minute. But anyways. So she decided to use her powers to flatten humanity. This led to the non-culture, non-society state I was referencing pretty much throughout the whole game. You know, these people, I want to stress that I'm not memeing or joking or ha ha ha. It is my opinion that these people do not have culture. They do not exist as a truly sentient species because they are devoid civilization. As Dakota pointed out so aptly at the very beginning of this very stream, basic hunter-gatherer tribes have more of a stake in being a society than this nonsense. And this, yeah, this is this horrible endless nightmare because unlike most dystopias, where someone's like, instead she just used her tremendous psychic power to just what I call flatten humanity. Just everything's the same. Everything's the same. You notice, and I did notice this, there wasn't even a hint or mention of any cultural variety at all. Think for a moment about how much cultural variety there is in real life humanity for just a second. Like, I live in the United States, right? So, American, there's no such thing as an American, right? Every state has their own cultural group. But even that's wrong, because most of these states have multiple cultural groups. Yeah, name and colony of origin. That's it. That's as far as that goes. So, cute. Now, there's some missing data here, but you'll notice I'm mostly talking about the nation when I reference the Empire. I'm getting to that, forgive me. So, also, the Empire absolutely venerates and worships the Empress, God, Emperor, Mankind reference, we're walking. And they all, even many of the replicas which their society became dependent on in order to function technologically, were modeled after people who were intended to look like the actual, the God Empress of Mankind, or the Revolutionary, who I'll bring up in just a second. In other words, that's it. There's the venerated one who is above everything else, because they're psychic, and that's it. Now, here's the part I messed up earlier, because I didn't realize that the Empress and the Revolutionary are two different people. Later on in their history, the Revolutionary showed up, and her daughter, and they revolted against the Empire and said, no, we'll follow this deific, horrific jackass instead of your horrific, deific jackass. And they went to war, and this huge, massive war is fought over it, and it leads to the destruction of the moon, and a near annihilation of the major human planet, which leads to stuff falling into the ocean, all kinds of fun, horrible, terrible stuff, because they have the technology to absolutely destroy each other over no good reason. Now, I want to make this clear, because this is part of the whole wonderfully Eastern European nature of this whole thing. They weren't rebels, right? The Empress was long dead by this point. There's just a second psychic was born, the Revolutionary, the Great Revolutionary, whoever she was. And she was born and had great psychic powers. And she decided that she was going to be in charge now. And they were like, no. And so she was like, no. And she took off and she founded the nation, which is what the majority of we see the game through the lens of, is the individuals and propaganda and lack of culture of the nation. But by everything I've been able to look into and check, the nation is functionally indistinct from the empire. If you put the two societies side by side, there's no difference, because the nation is just the empire, but also we're following this person instead of that person. That's it. What's that old joke? Your 1% tax goes too far. I think your 1% tax goes not far enough. There's no distinction. It's just two factions following the same types of groups for the same types of reasons, with the same lack of culture and the same lack of identity. Yeah, no hookers and blackjack. It's just, we're just doing the same thing again. This actually makes this wonderfully more depressing than it already was, because, again, there's no revolution. There's just changing the person who's on the top. And that led to horrific war, which caused mass destruction and blah, blah, blah. So, into this society is born a woman named Ariane, or Ariana, or however the hell you pronounce her name. She, by all accounts, has no conquering ambitions. We see a diary from her own pen, which flat out states, I just want to be done with this. I hate this place sucks. I don't blame her. I would too. So, she is sent out on what we now know as a suicide mission. I called that. before we actually found out about the 3000, the day 3000 thing, because the game made it very clear that that's where this was going. Hey, we're gonna get a message today. Let's dance and celebrate. And I'm like, oh, okay, so the message is something horrific, probably about how they're all about to die. So, yeah, low cost scout unit. Now here's the funny part. It's possible that she was sent out because someone recognized that she was a psychic, which she is, and she might be a third power now, because we had the Empress, then we had the Great Revolution, now we have Ariana. And so they sent her to get rid of her, but I actually don't think that's true. I think she was sent out on this stupid scout mission because she was so irrelevant that nobody noticed that she was someone who might have been able to change their society. Once again, this is so wonderfully depressing. The idea here is that there's a Luke Skywalker who could help salvage the people and help save the land and make everything better. But because nobody gives a crap, Luke is sent off to do some random job where he ends up dying of a mining accident. That's this, right? Ariana's just sent off because she's another person and other people are not valuable. So, that's depressing. So off they go. Whee! Now we get to the events of the game. So the things I would say are strongly true are everything I've just said. She's psychic. There were 2 previous psychics, flattening of humanity. Oh, and the pointless rebellion. So that leads us to the events of the game. So what the hell is actually happening in the game? I came up with 2 theories, okay? Theory number 1 is the one I hate. I actually strongly considered giving it a negative to story because I think it would be bad storytelling if it was true. However, the game, I almost feel like the game did this on purpose to cheat. Not that it cares about me, obviously, but like, it's all just a dream. That's it. The original 512, the unit based off of the 512, is just leaning up against the pod, slowly dying of radiation poisoning. The end. Not a fan of that. Yeah, the whole it is narrative cheating if that's true. Because first, and I've actually seen games that do this. In fact, I would like to spoil one because it does this very deliberately. So I'm going to spoil a game here. And I guess I can't actually tell you what the game is without spoiling. So if you like horror games, mute me for like a second, okay? I'll give you a few seconds. 3, 2, 1. So, Callisto Protocol. Some of you already know what I'm talking about, but to finish that sentence, it came out with its own little expansion-y thing. Yeah, the DLC, in which it was all just a dream. And it was very deliberate. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense in the narrative, that doesn't make sense in the gameplay, that doesn't fit, and it's all deliberate because it's all just a dream. But the thing is, it's not done well, if that makes any sense, if I'm explaining myself properly. It's not like there's hints or subtle, like, there's a concept I talk about called dream logic, which it can actually be written very, very well. Of all things, My Little Pony actually does a really good job of writing dream logic, where there's these kind of shortcuts, because the mind, while it's dreaming, will just kind of skip ahead to the next relevant step. And so some things will just kind of happen a little bit too smoothly because it skips the boring part in. I mean, little stuff like that, right? This didn't have that. Callisto Protocol just made no sense, right? And it didn't, hi, Mr. Floyd, and it didn't understand how to write a dream. You know, it was all just a dream. And so there was stuff that was, let's be honest, bad writing, bad voice acting, bad storytelling, bad visuals, bad everything. And then, oh, it was all just a dream, so it doesn't count. It was used as an excuse rather than as a storytelling tool. Because, as Taqueta points out, you can use a dream sequence to convey stuff that happens in a dream can still matter, right? I've said this before, it's all just a dream doesn't necessarily apply to a situation where it was all just a dream, if that makes sense. The trope of it's all just a dream means nothing that just happened matters. But, sure, Trihexia. But the concept, you can have a dream sequence in fiction and have it be relevant because it can still convey things. It can convey emotions, it can convey perspectives, it can convey fears, it can develop the history of a character, it can develop connections between characters. It's mostly character centric because by definition you're inside someone's head, but you can still do stuff with that rather than just having it be a bunch of nonsense because we didn't feel like it. Anyway, sorry. Rant off. Point being, this is not Callisto Protocol. This is Expedition 33 and Baldur's Gate 3 and also Dragon Age 4. Thank you, Mr. Floyd Pinkerton, as always. So I don't think that was happening. I don't have enough derision for the writers to think that that's what they did, which means the other option is true. So remember, Ariana is psychic. We also know that those psychics can influence people on a grand scale and across, interstellar distances, right? So the other possibility here, the other probability is, yes, Morganette, that's true. I did not actually know that about Callisto Protocol Dragonblade. That's hilarious. Horrible. God, that game was such a trash. Yes, trash. It was one trash. It wasn't even a trash heap, just one trash. So the other possibility here is that Ariana is slowly dying of this wonderful radiation poisoning, and her psychic powers are just kind of running rampantly out of control and destroying everything as she smears time and consciousness across the whole solar system. Which, by the way, I absolutely think this is what's happening because it's very on theme. Remember how one of the major points is that they sent off Ariana, even though she could have fixed the system, because the system was so broken that it disposed of the thing that would actually have made it, better, that might have actually improved things. Well, this adds to that, because this means that as she's out there dying very slowly of that radiation poisoning, and she's losing more and more control over her own psychic abilities, she is actually warping life and reality. So I think this stuff in the mining colony actually happened and was just having some of this stuff being warped into them. I think that the events on the ship actually happened. I think the events back on the colony world actually happened. And all of these things were just getting, and again, I want to stress that word smear. Time and consciousness were just getting smeared into this big gray paste. This is the significance of Adler and what he mentioned, by the way. The idea here being that the more this was going on, the more it was just going to turn into this indistinguishable sludge. There are actually several things in the game where it mentions that this psychic ability they have has the ability not just to affect people, like read someone's mind, but can actually adjust their consciousness and transfer their consciousness. That's the very nature of how the replicable program even works. So, this naturally explains everything that happens in the game, because everything that happens in the game is either someone in some other point in space and or time experiencing at least one point in the significance of their lives that led to Ariana. And, this entire time she's basically begging for someone to end her suffering. And then Lieutenant Leroy Jenkins shows up out of nowhere, giving me way too much money. I don't even know why that this is the thing that's happening. Give me a second, Lieutenant, really, please. I want to finish my sentence just really quick. This also leads to why so many people are desperately trying to find her, even though the different people who are searching for her are searching for different types of people. And I was just getting to that practice sampler. Remember that she mentions she doesn't want to die, obviously. Most people don't want to die. But she also doesn't want to live anymore. And so it's entirely possible her own psychic abilities are sustaining her in this horrific state. Hence why she wants us to... The original Elster, who, if we're being honest, is probably long dead, by the way, to go and fulfill her promise to kill her. It was mentioned in one of the notes, I couldn't fulfill my promise because I succumbed to it too, which means it's very likely that the original Elster unit that was on that ship with her broke down before Ariana did. which actually, if I'm being honest, makes a degree of sense to me. Because, it's a bioroid, right? It's an android with biological parts. That is, from my understanding, more susceptible to radiation than just a person who would just have cells melt. They would have things inconsistencying with each other, which would lead to a complete shutdown very quickly, right? If the cable is cut, it doesn't matter if the different pieces are still working, right? So I think the original Elster is turbo gone and has been for an unknown period of time. Yeah, circuit error, exactly. Oh, hey, he's at the last boss. That was fast. So, yeah, I'm not sure... True, Dakota. I'm not sure what actually to add to that. I think that's what's happening here. Now, let's read what Trihexia says, the fan base says is happening. So the ship crashed in the colony, and that's what started the mess. The android Fred is dead, but the psychic girl is alive, slowly dying of radiation poisoning. Her mind spread out, wanted her friend, wanted her suffering to end, so she hijacks people, revives a replicant with her android mind, the affected minds, and people, the other people are around. I don't actually agree with that. I think my theory is more accurate. Especially given, the last thing I was going to mention. It's only mentioned twice in the whole game that I noticed, but there were two casual references to, for lack of a better way to put it, eldritch horrors lurking in the deep. One was mentioned in the mines, and one was mentioned in the depths of a moon's ocean, right? So it's entirely possible that on top of all this other nonsense, you've got, Cthulhu's grandmother just hanging out there, just kind of making everything horrible. So that's another thing. It's flavor, right? It's another bit of flavor on top of everything. How did he kill that so quickly? So at the end of the day, Yahuwah has finally struck again. That's right. This was always a prequel to Quake. Now, thank you, Lieutenant Leroy Jenkins, very, very much. You didn't put that towards anything, though, so if you want to put that towards up to 3 games, please let me know. So, one other thought that occurred to me as I was watching the ending ended, because I can barely see chat there, just barely, is that it's possible. So I remember I mentioned they reference 2 eldritch creatures. Well, what if one of them's the Empress and the other one's the Revolutionary? And that's just what happens to psychics in this setting. They morph beyond humanity and turn into that. Turn into something eldritch, something unknowable, something Lovecraftian. Like a giant red eye hovering in the sky. What the? Oh, sorry. I guess the VOD ended. Ah, here's Tempest Rising. Sorry. Yeah, no confirmation, of course. But yeah, no, like, it makes a degree of sense, doesn't it? What's funny, though, is that would also make things even worse, because this is Eastern European. So, the idea here being, the Empress wanted order. So, naturally, she warped reality, and we have the Empire. The Counter-Revolutionary, she wanted to be on top. So that led to the creation of the nation. Ariana just kind of wanted to be left alone, but also was lonely. And a giant red eye watching all of humanity in this kind of unknowable way just sort of fits that, doesn't it? Anyways. Either way, those would be my theories. My horrible, horrible theories. I will put that towards dealer's choice, Lieutenant Joey Jenkins. Thank you. Yeah, Ariana is actually a decent person. Go figure. It's okay. She died horrifically. Desperately begging her lover to kill her. Something her lover failed at. Because Eastern European. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and cut off, get some paperwork done, grab some lunch, and then we're going to play something slightly less depressing.